Okay, here it is. I'm sorry, we just quickly cut into the break because this is what we were waiting for. Prime Minister Modi.
Prime Minister of Israel, Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu.
Okay, let's listen to Moshe.
Dear Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi. Namaste to the Pradhan Mantri Hindustan, Aapka Swagat Hamare Desh mein. Welcome to Israel, our holy land, to holy city of Jerusalem. My name is Moshe Holtzberg, the son of Rabbi Gabi and Rivki Holtzberg. I am 11. They are sent by Lubavitch Radio. I am 11 years old. I was saved by my very special nanny Sandra. May God bless them. My parents lived in Mumbai. They helped
You're Indian nanny.
My parents lived in Mumbai. They helped every person, Jewish and not Jewish, alike. The house was open to everyone. I now live in Israel with my grandparents, Rabbi Shimon and Judith Rosenberg, in their house in the city of Afula. I want to bless my grandparents for my father, Rabbi Nachman and Frida Holtzberg. I am an happy child, thank God. And I love to play. I try to be a good student. I would like to wish you Amara Ashirwad, Abki Sat Hebot, Pradhan Mantri Renge Salotak. I want to ask you something from all my heart. Please continue to love me forever and always remember my parents. I live in Afula, but all the time I remember and connected to Naramanav. I grew up there in Mumbai. This is my home. I hope I will be able to visit Mumbai. And when I get older, I live there. I will be the director of our Chabad house. With God's help, this is my house, an house of goodness. Dear Mr. Modi, I love you, and your people in India. I want to give you some presents to remember me and Dolly Jerusalem. Picture of
Does it cover? Thank and Moshe. Mr. Modi, Prime Minister Modi invited me to come to India. You will come with me to Mumbai.
Thank you for your very, very special gift.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you. And we shall see you with us, okay? And you will see Prime Minister Modi again very soon. Thank you.
So, would you like to come and stay in India and Mumbai? You are most welcome. You and your all family members, they will get a long-term visa from my government. So anytime you can come, anywhere you can go.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm very excited. You come just to Israel 3 days, that's it. You come from a big place, big country, not Israel, a small country, 8 million, but you have more and 500 million people. And if you can come here, remember Moshe, because you love Moshe and you love all the people, I love you also. Thank you, and I
Thank you.
Yeah. Don't forget. Yeah. And I come with that to Mumbai.
Can you have a picture, please?
I'm father from Gabi, because just not Turkey, but this is my country.
You especially came.
Yes,
Great.
my country, 7 generations. And besides them, I want to tell you about India. visit a lot, Indians visit a lot. The whole people around the world, the rich people, but they want to invest a lot of money in India, in going to meet me together since the tragedy. And they asked me to make nice places for them to can come to get the all services what they need.
The religious service.
Religious services. This means praying, eating, kosher, everything what they need. So, President, I know you're a friend from the family, you're a friend from Israel. Like I tell you, you're 7th generation in Israel, but you're just in America to do good things. Help me to continue the goodness and kindness for my son, but he got killed for that. And you have the power to do it.
אפשר אלינו? ראש הממשלה אלינו? אלינו
Wow, video.
תודה רבה לכם. תודה רבה.
So,
this is the woman who saved.
Yes. Your chief in charge of bomb squad.
Yeah.
He is from Maharashtra. Both can speak same language.
תודה רבה. תודה רבה.
Every weekend she's going to see him. I mean, if she's losing,
תודה רבה.
I want to give you a blessing, a lot of success and everything you do. This is the place for forever. All the best wishes, don't forget on the paper I ask you. And I appreciate
and are
it.
you going back to US?
Okay, Prime Minister Narendra Modi flanked by the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in what will be the photo opportunity that will define the first Indian Prime Minister's visit to Israel. In 70 years, not a single Indian Prime Minister has been to Israel, and the most crucial part there, young Moshe boy saying when he grows up, he wants to come to Mumbai to be the director of the Chabad House. S. Jaishankar, our Foreign Secretary, is speaking at this time. He's addressing the media. Let's listen to what he's saying.
Treated very well in India. It is a society which has never had any history of discrimination. And today we are broad-basing this relationship, taking it into many more facets than we've done in the past. Now, in terms of the specific sectors, we have announced a strategic partnership in water and agriculture, and the reason we use the word strategic there is we really think this has very, very major potential. Israel has made, Israel has a global reputation in terms of water conservation, water desalination, wastewater treatment, and its economical use in agriculture. So when we look at this whole spectrum really of water, agriculture, urban water usage, I think that whole spectrum really offers us a lot of collaborative possibilities. So some of the agreements, the MOUs that we signed today refer to that. What has been agreed to is a kind of a group which will take this forward, because the key point here is that there is a declared goal by the government of doubling farmer incomes by 20.
Lost that video link from Jerusalem. Indian Foreign Secretary doing the briefing there, very, very significant joint statement there. The Foreign Secretary trying to explain the importance of this meeting, and also just, okay, I think we have that link back. Let's go back again.
My parents lived in Mumbai.
You're Indian nanny.
My parents
Invited the Israelis to be the partner country for the annual technology summit which is being held. If you look again at areas like space and health, I think these two are examples where really foreign collaboration feeds into domestic development aspirations. Then in terms of foreign policy itself, the defense and security field, I think there are four broad pillars that I would draw to your attention. One, Israel has been a long-standing partner in defense. So there was discussion about joint development of defense products, including transfer of technology, and a phrase which gained currency, especially during this visit, though it started a little bit earlier, which was, we speak of make in India. The Israelis now, in talking to us, are speaking more and more of make with India. And there is appetite for working with us. This is a country which views its sort of collaborative history with us in defense very, very positively. So a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of possibilities there. The second pillar is the entire cyber spectrum. A lot of challenges there. Again, a world leader with whom there is a lot that we can do. Then we discussed terrorism, counter-terrorism. I think there was a recognition of the need to combat it in all its forms and manifestations. And the Israeli position really is very similar to ours, which is that there is no justification for acts of terror on any grounds whatsoever, and that they too feel that strong measures should be taken against terrorists, against terrorist organizations, networks, and all those who finance terrorism and who provide sanctuary to terrorists and terror groups. We have an ongoing dialogue in the field of homeland and public security with Israel, and we expect to strengthen that. Now, apart from that, on the people-to-people side, I think the joint statement actually has 2 points of particular interest. One is the expansion of air linkages between the two countries, so that for the next visit you'll find it much more convenient to come, and the announcement of a cultural center in Israel, which we hope to do in the near future. We signed and exchanged 7 MOUs today. Again, the list of that is with you. So this is broadly the sort of the narrative and the big picture. In terms of what the details of discussions, I'll go backwards. I think we had a lunch where the Prime Minister Netanyahu was accompanied by a number of ministers. So there was a very broad-based discussion. It started with agriculture, it went on to water and recycling, and actually the point was made by the Israeli side that when it comes to recycled water, I mean, they are way above the previous sort of country in terms of recycling usage, which I think is Spain, if my memory serves me right. There was also some discussion about Israel's capabilities in the dairy sector. This is again an area where they have asserted with some reason that they are the best in the world. And again, at the risk of repetition, a lot of our interest when we looked at agriculture, water, dairy was really getting back to that increase in farmers' income by 2022. Prime Minister on his side laid out his vision in some detail, what he saw happen, what he expects to see happening in India, spoke of different programs and flagship programs and campaigns, and sought to interest the Israelis.
Let's now go across live to Jerusalem. Padmaja Joshi's got Moshe Boy's grandparents with her. Let's listen in.
He give permission for her, but the whole family can come in India, whatever they need. The door is up.
What do you want from the Prime Minister so that another such attack doesn't?
I want to bring a lot of millionaires, religious millionaires, to can invest a lot of money in India, but I need to continue the legacy. I need to have the places to can get the services.
What should be done to end terrorism so that such attacks, such losses don't happen?
I didn't talk about them, but he said everything they try to do the best was possible.
All right. Would you ever come to India?
Yes, I come, of course, a couple of times. I come and I will come again.
Thank you very much. So that was the grandfather of Moshe talking about the meeting that was productive, and most importantly, the Prime Minister said every possible effort is being made to ensure that another such terror attack does not destroy another family. With camera person Ashraf in Jerusalem, Padmaja Joshi for India Today.
Okay, that's Padmaja Joshi. Let's go back to the press conference of India's Foreign Secretary.
2,000 Indian students. We are the largest number of foreign students in this country, and a very large proportion of them are in the postdoctoral side. These and then there was a certain amount of foreign policy discussion in terms of what we could be doing together in third countries, because today we in India have stepped up our development partnership projects. As you know, some of you know, that accounts for almost 50% of our budget today. We've pushed very hard both in our neighborhood and in Africa, and I think our development experience was of interest to the Israelis, who have their own experience and their own skills to bring to bear in that regard. The lunch meeting was preceded by a smaller group meeting where most of that was on defense, security and sort of strategic assessment and regional assessment issues. The day actually began with Prime Minister calling on President Rivlin. I think some of you may have picked up, there were a lot of the initial remarks were actually on camera, and the meeting only got warmer after the cameras left. That sense of shared history, warm feelings for each other, how can we work with each other, what do we do, and a lot of curiosity about the changes in India. I mean, that again was a feature, I would say, which came through with the President, with Prime Minister Netanyahu, with many of the ministers. They had heard of many of the initiatives, wanted to know more from the Prime Minister, and there was also some discussion on what are the threats that we face from fundamentalism, radicalization, and a broad agreement that really the fight against terrorism won't work if it is very segmented and translated into narrow agendas. One very interesting point which President Rivlin made was that young people in Israel have a very special feeling for India. Most of them, once they finish the draft, like to go to India. He spoke of literature, the fact that people are now writing books about their experiences in India. So in many ways, really the message was that, look, we are very deeply today a part of their life and their culture. And that in many ways is also what we feel about them. So I think that's broadly the summary of developments to date, and I don't know if there's something more you'd like to add. Otherwise, we'd be happy to take questions.
Yeah, Manish. So asking after that. Take the mic.
Foreign Secretary, you said that we look at India-Israel relations as a strategic partnership. But I'm just wondering, it may be a quibble, that we are talking about strategic partnership here in terms of water and agriculture. The larger...
as well as a larger strategic partnership, paragraph 1. Paragraph 1.
So does it mean an upgrade to the label of strategic partnership as we understand with other countries, as in the United States, Russia, major strategic partners? That's one. And the second question I want to ask you is this, which is specifically about China. That, as you know, Israel has expanded relations with China majorly, $11 billion trade, and they're also supporting the OBO, and where we have our specific concerns about CPEC. I was just wondering if there was any discussion, because apart from Palestine, I don't see any mention of any geopolitical issues in the joint statement, and terrorism, which is a different language. Did the Prime Minister at the delegation level talks, did we convey our concerns about OBOR or CPEC, or in some indirect way or directly? Thank you.
Right. Could I take 2-3 questions? Maybe Swasan?
Just a clarification, you said that we spoke about a strategic partnership on larger terms, but paragraph 1 doesn't refer to it. It just says bilateral relationship to a new level. So if you could just tell us what that new level is.
I hope you don't have an earlier version of the joint statement.
It's the version we all have.
Clearly.
This is circulated by these dailies. You got an earlier version.
Then I think maybe some
updated version refers.
Okay, let me
to write our stories in the next half hour.
We have put out something on the WhatsApp.
June.
No, we have put out something on the WhatsApp. Just see the WhatsApp.
Let me read out that sentence. That sentence is: this historic first ever visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Israel solidified the enduring friendship between the peoples and raised the bilateral relationship to that of a strategic partnership.
We have put it out on the WhatsApp. Just have a look at that.
So that will be in the MEA website. That's what we should get.
Yeah.
When in doubt, MEA website prevails.
Because that's not. But my second question is, you said that you had a separate delegation level talks on defense, strategic and other such issues. You've also in the joint statement got these 4 points that you had mentioned on defense and strategic issues. Yet none of the MOUs that were signed today actually have seen any of those long-term on those long discussions. So if you can let us know why defense and strategic outcomes have been left out in a sense from this.
Maybe I could take one more. Okay. Thank you. Look, first of all, why the term strategic partnership is broadly used to signify, to underline a sense of importance of that relationship, and also to underline, to sort of highlight that relationship is not narrow in that sense. I mean, the word strategic has certain connotations, conceptual connotations. So it's a very broad-based, deeper, big picture relationship. I mean, that's generally the common sense usage of that term. And certainly in the case of Israel today, I mean, if you look at the range of the cooperation, the seriousness of the cooperation, how much that cooperation means to each country, I would fairly confidently assert that, by any benchmark we would actually meet that sort of definition. Now, we did have a sort of a bit of a question mark on whether we should use the strategic partnership again for water and agriculture, but we decided to do so for a reason. We wanted to drive home the message that, look, water and agriculture are today key issues. I'm not playing down other issues, but I think there is insufficient understanding of what really a solid collaboration on water and agriculture can do in India. It can truly have, transformational possibilities for us. And if you look at it, it is a sector where some groundwork has already been done, because there already exist some centers of excellence, and it's a sector where Israelis obviously have a record which is there for all of us to see. So when you see the farmers' challenges in India, how central that is to our national agenda, the fact that the government has an ambitious goal of 2022 doubling of incomes, then we wanted to sort of bring this center stage. So that's why the somewhat repetitive term was used. But in each case, the intent is somewhat different. In one case, it's broad, it's serious, it's big picture. In the other case, it is, look, it's very committed, it has huge transformational possibilities. Admittedly, it's in one sector. So that's why the dual use. On the connectivity issue, my understanding is that yes, there were a lot of issues were discussed at some length. Some of them were just between the Prime Minister, some of them in a closer group, some of them were in full delegation. And obviously when connectivity issues come up, we make both our viewpoint, our arguments, our concerns known to our interlocutors. There's no reason to make Israel an exception in that regard. As regards, why are there no defense and security MOUs? In many cases, we have already agreements and MOUs in the field of defense and security, including in the homeland security and the public security area. But if one were to look for outcomes in the sense in which I suspect you mentioned the question, many of them require contractual negotiations. So as far as possible, it's not easy to synchronize contractual negotiations with the broader agreements which happen when a visit takes place. Plus, as I said, we were really, if in considering it was the 25th anniversary, our intent was really to broad-base this relationship. Broad-base this relationship and signal very publicly that has been the case. So therefore, a lot of our energies, this was a visit, I must tell you, where a number of secretaries came to Israel to prepare for this visit. They included secretary dealing with water, secretary dealing with both urban water and water resources, agriculture secretary. So I think Secretary Defense Production was also here because of the Make in India, Make with India possibility. So a lot of preparations have gone into it. The discussions were very substantive, but obviously, in a sense, a joint statement is a progress report. It's like a readout of the status of discussions as of the time when the Prime Minister comes, and that's what we have tried to honestly reflect.
So, so when you were in America not that long ago, the joint statement also spoke about terrorism, and it spoke very strongly, as has this one. But the phrase cross-border terrorism was used when you were in America. This one doesn't seem to have that. Is there any specific reason why that is so? And just to add to Manisha's question, there seems to be a sort of verbal build-up from the Chinese side even today. Would you like to comment on it? There's been a lot of...
On the joint statement?
No, surely not. But, they have said that, if Chinese citizens have to be in...
I'm not taking any questions other than that pertaining to the visit. This briefing is on this visit.
Just after that, if you wish.
But was it raised? Manisha raised?
No, he asked if the CPEC OBOR so my recollection of what I told him was that we do discuss connectivity with most of our interlocutors. There was no exception made in this case. We've always been very expressive in our articulations of our interests and concerns. So I think that's a fair answer. No, but let me deal with his issue. Look. Let me read out to you, here we are talking of India and Israel saying that strong measures should be taken against terrorists, terror organizations and networks, okay? Then it says, and all those who encourage, support and finance or provide sanctuary to terrorist groups, terrorists and terrorist groups. Now, I think that's a fairly clear and expressive description. Now, it's possible to reduce it to those three words which you are interested in. But maybe sometimes people like longer sentences.
But the Prime Minister's, could you give us a sense of what are the countries, or what are the companies the Prime Minister would be meeting tomorrow, the CEOs for what are the...
I think Pawan could perhaps answer that. What are the companies?
Yeah, thanks. So there's a whole list of companies that we've agreed on from the Indian side and the Israeli side. In fact, there are about 16 on either side who are probably going to participate. We can, we can probably share the list with you after this. Yeah, sure.
I was just reminded that Prime Minister Netanyahu actually expounded on his equation which he invented at the airport. And actually, I don't know if he said it so clearly there, maybe he did or maybe he didn't, but I'll just share it with you, which was Indian talent times Israeli technology equals India-Israel ties. For tomorrow.
All very complicated.
It's
easier to hear him say I square and T square.
Say, no, they don't want simple, they want the real equation. Say, Indian talent times into Israeli technology equals India-Israel ties for tomorrow. Yes. IT into IT equals I square T square, which is also mathematically correct, apart from being politically correct.
And technological. I think that's what we hope. Anybody who would not agree would not be better.
Sir, we've dehyphenated the relationship and the Prime Minister has visited Israel, but is there any plan, any thought of when the Prime Minister is even thinking of visiting Palestinian authorities?
No, say, you know the practice, whenever we have anything to say on a foreign visit, Gopal says it. He's not saying it right now. But when Gopal is ready to say anything on a foreign visit, he will say it.
Okay.
So, what was the extent or scope of discussion on the peace negotiation over here? Because the joint statement, the joint statement makes a mention of it. Beyond what is mentioned over here.
20th.
Yeah. Look, I think, in a sense, if you look at the 3 points made in the joint statement, which is, the fact that they discussed the peace process, the fact that, the reference to the just and durable peace and early negotiated settlement. Based on mutual recognition and security agreement. I think in a sense that was a tight summary of the discussion that they had. If you want a more granular version, actually, to be very honest, I need to get that because much of it was between the Prime Ministers.
So the Indian Foreign Secretary there on a acronym overdrive, as it were, quoting of course the Israeli Prime Minister, and I want to very quickly take you through what he's saying. He says Indian talent into Israeli technology equal to India-Israel relations for tomorrow. This is something Prime Minister Modi likes to do. So Benjamin Netanyahu is saying this is a game two can play. We're slipping into a quick break right now. Sandeep Punitan, Jalmurthy, Mushtaq, Gaurasavan, thank you so much for joining us. Padmaja Joshi will be with us live from Israel. Remember, there will be a big meeting with the Indian community. Much smaller than what we've seen in New York and London, but an address to the Indian community, and a lot more still left in the Prime Minister's visit. He'll also visit the battlefield of Haifa, one of the high points of the Indian cavalry in the First World War. Preeti Chowdhury takes over.